Okay. So guys, today's session is for the practice things. So basically, what and all topics we have covered. So for that, we have some practice problems. So basically, this practice problem consists of creating some HTTP requests. Basically, creating your API. Okay. So this is the problem. Okay. So this is basically the same thing whatever we did for the Beefster, and apart from like the Bifster things, there are some additional things as well, like here you have to accept as a authorization token, and if the client is like not authorized, then in that case you have to send some status codes. Okay, so before doing this practice problems, I would like to tell you, I think only 4 people are there. Okay, so I would like to tell you why we need to authorize an API. Okay, so just focus your attention here. So what happens, suppose I have developed an API and I want only some authorized people to access my API. ओके, जैसे कि मान लो कि मैंने एक कुछ ऐसा एपीआई डिजाइन किया है जो कोई मतलब बहुत ही सेंसिटिव इंफॉर्मेशन कंपनी का रिवील करता है, जैसे कि मान लो कंपनी में कितने एम्प्लॉयज हैं, कितनी सैलरी है. फॉर सच काइंड ऑफ डेटा आई डोंट वांट एवरीवन टू गेट दैट इंफॉर्मेशन. अगर मैं अपने एपीआई को, अपने प्रोग्राम को सिक्योर नहीं बनाऊंगा, तो कोई भी इंसान किसी भी नेटवर्क पे जाके मेरे एपीआई को हिट करेगा और उसको सारा डेटा मिल जाएगा, राइट? So that is not a good thing. So in that case we have something called the authorization. So authorization is basically like, जैसे होता है ना कि आप, यू वुड हैव हर्ड लाइक इन द आर्मीज, बेसिकली बटालियन, आर्मी बटालियंस में क्या होता है, एक ट्रूप जब दूसरे ट्रूप के पास जाता है तो उनके पास कुछ पासवर्ड होते हैं. until and unless that password is told by the people, told by the army person, the other army people will not accept that troop. ओके, सो बॉर्डर पे बेसिकली क्या होता है, कोई एक ट्रूप आ रही है, कैसे पता लगेगा कि वाकई ये लोग भी हमारे टीम के हैं, ये लोग भी आर्मी से ही हैं, या फिर ये लोग भी हमारे डिफेंस सिस्टम से हैं? तो बेसिकली उनके पास एक पासवर्ड होता है, तो वो पासवर्ड जब बताते हैं तभी वो उनको उस बॉर्डर के पास एंट्री मिलती है. ओके, तो सेम वे फॉर द एपीआई ऑल्सो. एपीआई में भी हम कुछ पासवर्ड क्रिएट करते हैं, अगर वो पासवर्ड वेरीफाई होता है तभी वो एपीआई कॉल एक्सेप्ट किया जाता है, अदरवाइज it gives you some error. Basically it gives you some unauthorized error. So in this case we have to send 401. So 401 is basically the unauthorized status code, so you have to send this particular status codes. ठीक है, but I have not discussed this how to send the status codes with the help of our programming. हमने ये discuss नहीं किया था. Okay, so let's discuss it first, and there we will see how to send the status codes and how to send the basically the authorization part, the basic authorization. I'm not going to do the other authorization, I'm going to discuss only the basic authorization. Okay, so let's do that. So only 4 people are there, I'm just thinking what about the other people. Okay, so my voice is audible to everyone, right? So you can raise your hand, or you can speak also if I'm having some issue. Okay, maybe I can have a network issue like the other day, but it will not happen probably today. So let's get started, and just stop me then and there if you didn't understand anything, because this topic is very very important, guys. Okay, so how to send, basically this is the code which we discussed day 4 yesterday. Okay, so how to send the status code. So basically by default, if success will come, so by default it will give you 200 status code. But what if I want to send some other status code? Okay, 201 or some 202. In that case, how to do that? Also how to do the basic authorization. Okay, so those parts we will see here, then we will go to the practice problem. Okay, so here as you can see here, my return type is an object. Okay, so basically that greeting was an object whatever we discussed the other day. Okay, so if I want to send some status codes in the response, instead of this thing, instead of this object only, okay, ऑब्जेक्ट के अलावा अगर हमको स्टेटस कोड भी भेजना है, कुछ स्टेटस हेडर्स भी भेजना है, so how to do that? For that, HTTP provides one class called response entity. response entity नाम का HTTP के पास, HTTP सर्वलेट के पास एक क्लास होता है. ठीक है, इस क्लास की हेल्प से हम क्या कर सकते हैं, उसका HTTP के रिस्पॉन्स में उसका स्टेटस कोड, उसका हेडर, उसकी बॉडी हम सेट कर सकते हैं. ओके, सो लेट्स सी हाउ टू डू दैट. ओके, for that, this greeting whatever you are seeing here, this greeting is basically what it is, an object. So what we will have to do, we will have to make the greeting as an type of response entity. जैसे कैसे होता है, अगर आपको एरे, अगर आप लोगों को याद होगा तो एरे में हम क्या करते हैं, लेट्स से इन केस ऑफ लिस्ट हम क्या करते हैं, अगर हमको लिस्ट स्ट्रिंग टाइप का बनाना था तो हम एंगुलर ब्रैकेट में क्या लिखते थे, ऐसे लिखते थे, राइट? अदरवाइज अगर हमको इंटीजर बनाना होता था क्या करते थे, लिस्ट ऑफ इंटीजर लिखते थे, कर्ली ऐसे करते थे एंगुलर ब्रैकेट में. सेम थिंग वी विल डू हियर. हियर आवर रिटर्न टाइप विल बी the response entity. The object will be the greeting basically, and we will have to send the response entity. तो इस response entity को हम ऐसे ही लिखेंगे और greeting को इसके angular bracket में डाल देंगे. ठीक है, इसके import को हम import कर लेते हैं. Okay, so here you can see also just observe this thing. This also comes from the HTTP response entity package. This is also provided by the Spring Boot only. Okay. तो जब इस क्लास के अंदर जाओगे तो आप देख सकते हो क्या क्या इसके अंदर फंक्शनलिटीज हैं, कैसे 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 ये काम करता है. So many methods you will find here. Different constructors also will be there. So you can use depending upon your requirement. Okay. So इसका एक requirement, हम basic जो requirement होता है status code कैसे भेजें वो हम देखते हैं आज. ठीक है. So here response entity has so many things. Like one of them I will show you. Response entity dot status. पहला चीज आपको status मिल गया. अगर आपको कोई status code भेजना है, okay, suppose I want to send 202, so you can pass that status code here. Okay, so instead of the default status code for the success response, that is your 200, and the error code that is your 500. So 200 और 400 200 और 500 जो स्टेटस कोड होते हैं वो डिफॉल्ट होते हैं. अगर आपने कुछ कॉन्फ़िगर नहीं किया है तो अगर सक्सेस हुआ तो वो 200 भेजेगा, अगर कुछ एरर आया तो इंटरनल सर्वर एरर 500 भेजता है. ठीक है, बट इन रियल वर्ल्ड एप्लीकेशन इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट. वी यूज टू कस्टमाइज दैट स्टेटस कोड. कस्टमाइज करते हैं ना, ताकि पता लगे कि एग्जैक्टली रीजन क्या है, किस वजह से फेल हो रहा है या फिर किस वजह से पास हो रहा है ना. तो उस सब चीजों को कॉन्फ़िगर करने के लिए हमको उसको कस्टमाइज करना है. फॉर दैट वी यूज दिस क्लास response entity class where we set different parameters. So here you can see I am setting response entity dot status equal to 202. For now I am just setting it 202. You can set the other status code whatever you are required for. Okay, इसके बाद हमारे पास क्या होता है, इसके बाद हमारे पास बहुत सारी अलग चीजें होती है. अगर हमको हेडर्स भेजना है तो you will get this header also. So here in this header you can pass the different HTTP headers. Okay, but for now I am not going to send any header. I need to send what? I need to send just the body. तो बेसिकली हम स्टेटस भेज रहे हैं और बॉडी भेज रहे हैं. तो बॉडी में हमको क्या मिलना था, हमको बॉडी में यही चीज मिलना था जो हमने पहले किया हुआ था. तो इसको मैं यहाँ पे बॉडी में लिख लूंगा. ठीक है, और बाकी चीज को इसी को यहीं पे रिटर्न कर दूंगा और इस वाले रिटर्न को मैं हटा देता हूँ. ओके, सो हियर जस्ट लेट मी शो यू वंस अगेन. रिस्पॉन्स एंटिटी डॉट स्टेटस, स्टेटस के बाद हम बॉडी भेज रहे हैं. जो बॉडी में वही चीज है जो हमने लास्ट क्लास में डिस्कस किया था. Okay, so I'm not going to repeat it once more. My intention was to show you how to send any status codes in the response. Okay, so here you have to make an object of response entity. Object भी नहीं create करना है. Basically you have to accept it like a return type. The object which you want to send in the response, that object you will have to make it as a type of response entity. So basically ये greeting क्या है? It's a type of response entity. Type मतलब data type की बात कर रहा हूँ. ठीक है. Then the status you will have to set whatever the status you want to have, and then its corresponding body. Okay, so that's the only thing you have to do. ठीक है, अब इसको मैं start करता हूँ application, फिर we will see the headers also, the authorization part. Just stop me then and there if you didn't understand anything. Okay, so application is about to start. Okay, so application has started now. अब हम पोस्टमैन में जाते हैं, इसको हिट करते हैं. ठीक है, तो द अदर डे वी सॉ दिस वन, दिस थिंग हमने डेमोन्स्ट्रेट किया था. अब हम क्या करते हैं, बेसिकली यहाँ पे देखा 201. ओके, फॉरगेट इट, we are getting 202. So whatever the status code you are sending here 202, that status code only you will get it here, not the default one. Default one आपको नहीं मिलेगा, जो आप भेजोगे वहां से वो मिलेगा यहाँ पे. ठीक है, anything you can configure. तो ये तो रही बात स्टेटस कोड कैसे भेजते हैं. अब जो हमारा मेन चीज था कि रिक्वेस्ट हेडर कैसे एक्सेप्ट करते हैं. सपोज इफ आई वांट टू पास सम पासवर्ड, पासवर्ड मतलब कि अगर ये एपीआई कोई हिट करे, नाउ यू कैन सी आई एम एबल टू हिट इट. इवन यू कैन हिट दिस एपीआई इफ यू विल पॉइंट टू माय सिस्टम. ठीक है, तो उसको आप भी हिट कर सकते हो। आई कैन, इफ आई डिप्लॉय दिस एपीआई ऑन अ सर्वर, सो एनीवन कैन हिट इट, ठीक है, बट दैट इज नॉट गुड थिंग, राइट? एनीवन विद द anyone with the what, anyone with the some credentials, some password only, they are supposed to hit that API. Okay, for that we are supposed to accept the token means password in the something called the headers. So http जो request आप भेजते हो यहाँ पे, here you can see one thing called the body and one thing called the headers. Okay, so headers में आप देख सकते हो आपके पास बहुत सारे parameters हैं. By default postman sends all these things, it is not required basically. Okay, so we are going to send some headers called authorization. Okay, authorization में हम password pass करेंगे. For now my password is gigster session. So in this case right now I have not configured that password here. ठीक है, अपने कोड में मैंने किया नहीं है. I'm just accepting it, like I'm just trying to pass in the headers, and now at the backend I will validate it. अगर validation मेरा correct हुआ, जैसे मैंने gigster session ही केवल पास किया तभी तो वो चलेगा, API सक्सेस रिस्पॉन्स देगा, वरना वो बोलेगा 401 अनऑथराइज्ड. ओके, अब ऑथराइज नहीं हो. ठीक है, तो इसको कैसे इंप्लीमेंट करें? सो बेसिकली हियर यू कैन सी वी आर सपोज टू एक्सेप्ट द टोकन, द पासवर्ड बेसिकली इन द हेडर सेक्शन में आपको पासवर्ड एक्सेप्ट करना है. ठीक है, तो हेडर सेक्शन में कोई सी भी किसी भी पैरामीटर को कैसे एक्सेप्ट करते हैं उसको देखो. Okay, so here it is about the path variable, leave about the path variable, this is different thing. Path variable already हमने डिस्कस कर लिया है. अभी हम करेंगे request header. So for that, first of all you have to see what kind of header you want to pass, the data type, basically what type of header you want to pass. So here you can see we are supposed to pass the a string value. Okay, so यहाँ पे simple लिख लो string, कोई local variable ले लो, मैंने ले लिया auth. ठीक है, auth ले लिया मैंने. Now how spring or how this http request will understand that this auth, this variable for the auth which has some value will be a will be the something which will be coming from header. कैसे पता लगेगा कि header से ही आ रहा है? For that we have annotation request header, request header. So ये annotation जैसे आप लगाओगे तो spring क्या करेगा, जो भी आप पैरामीटर्स एक्सेप्ट करोगे, ठीक है, जो भी पैरामीटर आप एक्सेप्ट करोगे उसको हेडर में खोजेगा. उसको कहां से पिक करेगा? हेडर से पिक करेगा. ठीक है, अब सेम टाइम यू हैव टू डिफाइन द की आल्सो, राइट? किस नाम से आ रहा है पासवर्ड, किसी वेरिएबल में स्टोर होगा ना, ये तो लोकल वेरिएबल नेम है जिसको हम यूज करेंगे. ठीक है, बट एक्चुअली में हम किस नाम से भेज रहे हैं? तो हियर यू कैन से वी आर पासिंग ऑन द वेरिएबल कॉल ऑथराइजेशन. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे ऐसे ही हम क्या करेंगे, जैसे हमने पाथ वेरिएबल के लिए वैल्यू इक्वल टू नेम दिया था, राइट? इन द नेम वी वर एक्सेप्टिंग द पैरामीटर. तो यहाँ पे हम क्या करेंगे, वैल्यू इक्वल टू हम क्या दे देंगे, ऑथराइजेशन. तो अब ऑथराइजेशन नाम से ऑथराइजेशन की में जो भी वैल्यू आप भेजोगे वो वैल्यू इस ऑथ को असाइन हो जाएगा. ठीक है, नाउ सपोज आई एम पासिंग दिस थिंग कॉल्ड गिगस्टर सेशन. सो द वैल्यू कॉल्ड द गिगस्टर सेशन विल बी दिस ऑथ. सो ऑथ विल बी इक्वल टू गिगस्टर सेशन, या फिर जो भी वैल्यू आप यहाँ से पास करोगे वो इसको असाइन हो जाएगा. नाउ लेट्स गो एंड सी हाउ वी कैन वैलिडेट दिस पासवर्ड. सो बेसिकली इसमें पासवर्ड आएगा, अगर वो पासवर्ड करेक्ट है तो आपको क्या करना है, इसको ये रिस्पॉन्स भेजना है, अदरवाइज यू हैव टू सेंड 401. ओके, तो अब कैसे करें? तो सिंपली जैसे कोड आप लिखते हो ना, इफ एल्स कंडीशन. सो आई एम गोइंग विद द बेसिक थिंग्स. इफ ऑथ डॉट इक्वल्स, ठीक है, इक्वल्स यूज करते हैं स्ट्रिंग कंपैरिजन में, आई थिंक यू वुड बी नोइंग दिस थिंग. इफ ऑथ डॉट दिस थिंग इक्वल्स टू गिगस्टर सेशन, अगर ये गिगस्टर सेशन है तब तो ये हो जाए, ये वाला रिस्पॉन्स मिल जाएगा उसको, जिसमें 202 स्टेटस कोड जाएगा, ये बॉडी जाएगी, अदरवाइज कुछ उसको अनऑथराइज्ड का मैसेज मिलेगा. ठीक है, तो मैं इसको सिंपल बनाने के लिए मैं इसका नेगेटिव केस यहाँ पे ले लेता हूँ, नॉट इक्वल टू. अगर ये नॉट इक्वल टू होगा तो मैं क्या रिटर्न कर दूंगा, इसको मैं थोड़ा सा कॉपी कर लेता हूँ, इसी को मैं यूज कर लेता हूँ यहाँ पे. अगर ये नॉट इक्वल है, मतलब गिगस्टर सेशन पासवर्ड के अलावा कुछ अगर दे रहा है तो मैं क्या पास कर दूंगा, 401 स्टेटस कोड. 401 इज फॉर अनऑथराइज्ड. ओके, अब बॉडी में मैं कुछ नहीं भेजूंगा, मैं नल बॉडी भेज देता हूँ, एम्प्टी बॉडी भेज दूंगा. ठीक है, अदरवाइज एल्स कंडीशन में क्या आ जाएगा, एल्स कंडीशन में ये आ जाएगा, अगर इक्वल हो जाएगा तो ये चीजें आ जाएंगी, मतलब जो सक्सेस रिस्पॉन्स है वो उसको भेजेगा. ठीक है, सो दिस इज हाउ यू आर सपोज टू वैलिडेट योर एपीआई, कि सही पासवर्ड से वो हिट हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है, सही आदमी हिट कर रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है, द यूजर इज ऑथराइज्ड टू हिट योर एपीआई और नॉट. ओके, सो अगेन आई एम रिपीटिंग इट, आई एम यूजिंग द रिक्वेस्ट हेडर. the value will come under this particular key called authorization. Okay, I'm just comparing it whether that is equal to the Gigster session or not. If that is equal, then this part will come, otherwise this response entity dot status equal to 401 not authorized. ठीक है, ये मैंने कर दिया. Now let me restart the server again. Okay, so every time from now onwards, whenever you are supposed to use the status, whenever you are supposed to send some status code, so http response entity basically use करना, जिसमें कि आप status को set कर पाओ. Okay, so now I am going here, I am trying to hit it. For now, for the first time I will not pass this correct password. मैं कुछ और पास करूंगा, मैं Gixter से पास करता हूँ, ठीक है, या फिर some blah 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 पास करता हूँ. Okay, अब इसको मैं हिट करता हूँ, तो आप यहाँ पे देखोगे यहाँ क्या आ रहा है, 401 अनऑथराइज्ड, मतलब कोई भी बॉडी नहीं आई हमारे पास और अनऑथराइज्ड आ गया. ठीक है, इसका मतलब मैं पासवर्ड सही पास नहीं कर रहा हूँ. सो इन दिस वे आई कैन मेक श्योर लाइक माई एंड पॉइंट इज प्रोटेक्टेड, ये सिक्योर है. केवल पासवर्ड वाले आदमी ही जिसके पास करेक्ट पासवर्ड होगा सिर्फ वही उसको हिट कर पाते हैं. ठीक है, so here you can see I am getting 401. If I'll give some other password, let's say, so this time also I will not get any response, I'll get 401. When I will get the response, when I'll pass the correct password. The correct password is Gigster session. ठीक है, अब मैं इसको हिट करूंगा तो I am getting the response. See, I am getting the correct response. Understood? Any doubt so far, anyone? Because our practice problem is based upon this thing only. Anyone, any issue, any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, then fine. No, then fine. Okay, so let's go and discuss this problem, first practice problem. So यही वही क्वेश्चन है जो हमने बेस्टर से किया था. दिस टाइम वी आर गोइंग टू डू इट थ्रू द जावा प्रोग्राम यूजिंग स्प्रिंग बोट. ठीक है, so first problem is design a REST post API to upload the bill details of an employee XYZ company. तो XYZ कंपनी है, उसमें एक कोई एम्प्लॉई है, उसका नेम होगा, वर्क एक्सपीरियंस होगा, एज होगा, सैलरी होगा. ठीक है, उसके डिटेल को आपको अपलोड करना है. सो ऑलरेडी वी हैड डिस्कस्ड इट हियर. हियर मतलब द लास्ट सेशन वी हैड दिस सेव मैसेज, राइट? सो इसी तरह से होगा. ठीक है, इसी तरह से आपको डिटेल को सेव करना है और ये मैसेज पास करना है. स्टेटस कोड आपको 201 भेजना है और स्ट्रिंग टाइप का रिस्पॉन्स होगा, मैसेज एम्प्लॉय डिटेल सेव सक्सेसफुली. और द ओनली डिफरेंस इज दिस टाइम यू हैव टू डू विद द ऑथराइजेशन टोकन. तो बेसिक अभी जो मैंने डेमोन्स्ट्रेट किया जस्ट नाउ, ठीक है, तो 401 अगर आपको अगर ये पासवर्ड आप पास ना करो तो 401 आएगा स्टेटस कोड. अदरवाइज इफ द पासवर्ड इज करेक्ट यू विल गेट द रिस्पॉन्स दिस थिंग, employee details saved successfully. So let's start doing it. I'll give you 10 minutes, so try your best. Already we have discussed this thing thrice. ये तीसरी बार है जब हम सेम चीज को करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, तो दिस टाइम यू शुड नॉट हैव एनी इशू. द अदर डे वी क्रिएटेड एन मॉडल क्लास फॉर द ग्रीटिंग. इस बार आपको एम्प्लॉय नाम का मॉडल क्लास क्रिएट करना है जिसमें ये 3 वेरिएबल्स 4 वेरिएबल्स होंगे. ओके, so let's start doing it. I'll give you 10 minutes. I'll start discussing at 20:35. Okay, so करो, पूरी कोशिश करो करने के लिए. Okay, I'll give you 10 minutes. Okay, so I'm already there. If you are having any issue, just speak it out.
हेलो सर. सर रिस्पॉन्स स्टेटस कोड कैसे सेंड करते हैं सर? Okay.
Zomato. I hope everyone is doing not sitting idle. Don't watch it like a video. Hurry up, guys. 4 more minutes. Two more minutes, guys. Okay, so time's up. Has anyone tried? Has anyone done? Or at least tried? No one tried? Ashish, what about you? You are not connected to audio only. How are you are how you will speak? Anyone? पांच लोगों में किसी ने नहीं किया. That means you have not paid attention during the concept sessions. It's a very simple problem. Anish, Vaishnavi, Vishwesh, Minu, Ashish. Nobody of you had them. Okay then. Let's focus here.
So now it's like my IntelliJ
Okay.
is taking time to configure.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay. So we will start it. So basically, it's about creating a post API which will return 201 and a string message on the successful. And the only error we are expecting here is unauthorized. Okay, so when the password basically will not be correct, so in that case we have to send 401. Okay, so that's our problem. Now let's go to our IDE, and I'm closing everything. I'll create a new class basically. Okay, so first of all we need to go for the controller. This time I'll create the employee controller. Employee, okay, controller, you can name as per your choice. Okay, now this thing I want, what I want it as a rest controller. I will uh, annotate it with this particular annotation. Now I'll need to create one post method, basically HTTP post method. So let's do it. Okay, and I need to send the what I need to send, what I need to send a status codes also. So for that I'll go with the response entity, and we are supposed to what we need to suppose we are supposed to send a message as a string. So employee details created successfully. So this kind of string message we have to pass basically as a response. So that means we want to have a string type of response body. Okay, now I'm just naming it uh, save employee, and this particular save employee will accept what, first of all, since we are going to make it as what, we are going to make it as a post request, post mapping. Okay, post mapping. So I'll name this endpoint as a save employee. Okay, now basically we will have what, we need to pass these details, these name, work experience, age, salary. Okay, and apart from this we need to pass the password also, basically a token for the authorization. Okay, so the token we are supposed to expect, where we are supposed to expect in the headers. So request header I am using. Okay, its name I will use about, its name I will use as a authorization, because in the authorization key only we are supposed to pass it as per the requirement. Okay, so I'll just copy it so that it doesn't gets mistyped. Okay, so this is the one parameter we will accept. Now apart from this, what other things we are expecting? So this will be basically the string value. I'll name it as a auth. Okay, apart from this, we are supposed to have the request body. Request body भी होगा इसके साथ, request body. Okay, request body, and the type of request body will be what, basically it will be a JSON type. Correct, it will be a JSON type. So these details are required: name, work experience, salary, and age of the employee. So basically we need what, we need a JSON object. So we'll create a model for that. Okay, so let's create an employee model. Employee. Okay, now we want to have some fields like private string, employee name, private age, let's have a int value, private string name, then private salary. Salary, let's make it as a integer type only right now. Salary, then it will have what, name, age, salary, and work experience. So private int, this is also work experience, work x I will name it. Okay, so these parameters we want to have. So in the response body, what we will sorry, in the request body, what type we want to have, an object. Okay, I'll name it as a this thing, request body employee imp local name I have taken. I'll put a comma here. Okay, I'll import that class basically here. Okay, so this is our basic the structure of the API. Now first of all we have to validate it, whether it is getting it is requested by a true client or not, means a authorized client or not. So for the authorized client, what we are supposed to have, we are supposed to have the correct password, correct token. Okay, so for that let's first check this thing. We'll just use the if condition and check if this auth will have the correct value or not. So I'm just having if auth dot equals, sorry, of auth dot equals. Okay, if that equals to what, so here they have given the value also, this should be the password gigster session. Okay, so I'm just having extra session. So if that equals to, okay, so basically let me take the negative case here because it will be easy to write the code. Okay, so it will return what, it will return the response entity object with the status as a 401. Okay, and then the body will be a null body, basically an empty body when the password will not be correct. Otherwise, in case of else condition, what we are supposed to have, we are supposed to return response entity dot status as a 201. That's what they are saying, right? 201. And the message, basically this message we are supposed to pass. Then body will be this string value, correct? So that's it. That's it. Okay. So this is how your API will look like. Okay. To just validate it whether we are getting the correct detail of this employee or not, means if we are getting the request body or not, because we are not using any database to save right now. So I'll just do it is I'll just print it basically to just check whether I'm getting the value which I am passing from the client side or not. Okay, so I'll just use a syslo statement here. Okay, I'll just use a syslo, sorry, I typed it at the wrong place. Okay, so I'm just checking it, okay, whether I'm getting the correct value or not. So basically I'll name it what I need to pass this emp, this object basically I want to print it. Okay, so I'll just have a request body passed. Okay, I'll just have it like this. Okay, now go here and just make its constructor also. Right now we don't want constructor for the post request because we are not going to use it anywhere, but yeah, for this printing purpose I at least need the what, I need the toString method. Okay, because I'm printing it. So I'll just override this toString method. Okay, that's it. For now, this is only the this much only it's required.
Sir,
I'm not to create any constructor right now. Yes,
sir,
tell me.
here if you use the Lombok, then also we need to go for toString method.
No, no. If you are having this at the rate of data here, okay, so you can use the Lombok. Right now, I am not having Lombok dependency. That's why I'm doing it like here. So if you are using the Lombok, then you will have to just implement the serialization. Okay, serializable is a interface. So basically, you will have to do what? You will have to just implement it. Okay, otherwise you can just do at the rate of data also if you are having this one Lombok. Okay, so that is we have not discussed that, that's why I'm not taking it right now. You do it in a basic way, just override this toString. Basically we don't want to we are not supposed to do this toString overriding here. Either we can just implement the serialization, otherwise we can just annotate with the at the rate of data using the Lombok. So that will suffice our requirement. Okay, so we will discuss those things also in coming sessions. Okay, so that's it. I'll restart my application and I'll hit it. Okay, so I have restarted my application. Let me just configure my endpoint in the Postman also. So endpoint, the localhost port number will be same. This will be the post request save employee, and here I'll make it as a post request. Sorry, not post request. Okay, that's it. So in the header, first of all I'll pass some wrong value so that I can check whether it's working properly as expected or not. Then in the body, what I need to pass, I need to pass as a JSON object. Okay, now let's go. It's started already. Okay, so first of all I'll pass the body. So in the body I need to check, I need to exactly use the same keys here whatever I am using here. Okay, name, age and salary as it is, otherwise it will not work. First of all I need to have a name, so name I'll pass as a Neeraj. Then age I'll pass as a 26. Then I'll pass as a salary I'll pass as a, let's say 20,000. Then I'll pass as a work X. 1 second. Okay, so this particular work X I need to have work X. Then work X will be 4 years. Okay, so that's it. This is the body, and in the header I am passing this authorization. This is one where I'll have this uh, basically the token. So now let's hit it. So if I am hitting it, so let's see here what you are getting, 401 unauthorized, because I am not passing the correct password. So here if you will go to the code, here you can see I'm just first I'm checking if that not equal to Gigster session. If that is not equal to, that means it will send this one response status 401 and body will be null. You can pass some other body also. You can just pass is pass the correct token. Correct token. Okay. So this message also you can pass it. I'll just restart it. It's not like for 401 you have to send empty body only. You can pass the body as per your requirement. Okay. So that's it for this thing. I'll just hit it once more. This time I have given a proper message for the unauthorization instead of null body. Okay. So I'll just hit it. So this time I'm getting what? Please pass the correct token. Okay. So now let's pass the correct token. So correct token is what? Correct token is Gigster session. This is the correct password. So I'll pass the Gigster one. Now I'll hit it. So this time you are saying employee details created successfully. I got the 201 as a status code also. Okay. And you can see in the this thing in the request body, I am getting the body also, whatever I have passed. Right now I have just taken the default values. I didn't pass any value here. Okay. No, I passed the value, but it's still it's taking as a this thing. What? Still it's taking what? Can anyone tell me why it's taking 00 and not this thing? Anyone? Any brave guy? See, here I am passing some values, but here I am not getting that values. Why? Batao?
They have not given any details regarding the database.
What database you want? I'm just hard. I must have these values right near 26 and here. So basically I'm printing it here line number 16. So I should have those values here, but I'm not having that value in the request body. Basically it's taking the default value. Default means the string value default null, age 0, salary 0, by expense 0. Okay. So why we are not having, why we are not getting the correct value in the response body, sorry, in the request body, that you have to figure out. Okay. So basically you need to do something here in the employee class, and that you will do from your end. I'm not going to do it for my purpose. I have done with this thing. Okay. So basically whatever you are, what I mean to say, what the value you are passing here, you should achieve, you should get it here also, right, on the server. But here you can see the keys basically is correct, but the values here it's having the null value, null, the default value 0 and null. Okay. So that you have to figure out. Basically we need to do something in this employee class, that model class. Okay. Because here it's taking
I
the,
think we need to provide a constructor class here, like this type of
yeah,
thing.
you try from your own. Okay. So this will be your homework. Okay. So you try what I need to pass it here. Okay. So this is done. Now let's go to the second problem and do it. I'll give you 10 more minutes. The same way, this time you have to fetch the value basically to get API. Okay. So you have to get the API, and this time you are supposed to pass some hard coded value. So in the basically when you hit the get method, so you should have this value name, jack, work experience, this thing. Okay. So already we have discussed this thing also, this type of problems also we have discussed. So do it now. 10 more minutes. At 9 o'clock I'll start discussing. So remaining structure, it will be same. It will be just a get call with some response body. Okay. So go ahead, do it. And everyone should try it at least. If you will sit idle, you will not learn anything. You will not learn anything. Okay. Guys, at least should give a try. Same kind of problems. It's like the third time I'm discussing the same kind of problem. At this moment, you should be in a position to solve this. So here you can see in the response body, basically we are accepting the two different objects. So one this object, one this object. So basically it will be the list of objects. This time I want at least one guy to do it. Guy or girl. Okay, shall we discuss? Anyone tried? किसी से हुआ कि नहीं? Vishwesh, you want to say something?
So we will start discussing.
Yeah, I'll start, but you should try, right? You didn't try. Okay,
I gave it a try. I'm having confusion in passing the list.
okay, then fine. So basically here, as you see, it is expected to have one list of this thing object, okay, and it will be a get call which will have the status code as a 200, okay, 200, and this thing, okay. So let's go to our ID. Again, I'll create one method. That method will be basically, it will also be like having the, it should also have the response entity. Anyways, by default it will give you 200 response code, but let's do it with the response entity only, okay. And here okay, I will discuss later this get employees. I will name it as a get employees, okay. And here in this case also you are supposed to have the API validation, so I'll just reuse this same code here for the request header. I'm just having it like this, okay. I don't want to have it as a request body because it's a get call, so let's name it as a get mapping. And basically the endpoint name will be, I'll name it as a slash get employee, okay. Now the question arises, what will be the type? Basically here you can see if we had to return the type of a string, okay, so we made it as a string. So here what will be the type, okay. So let's go to our problem statement once more. So here you can see in the response body, it is asking us the format like the list of object, okay. So how to just have return the list of object? The same way like you did for the string, you expect as a list, and the type of list will be what? It will be of type employee. That's it. Basically, this in the response entity, we are supposed to have the list of employees. That's it. That's what we are doing. So that's how you declare the list, right? In the Angular bracket. That's it. Now for the authorization purpose, I will use this code only. Let's do it once again. If auth dot auth dot or dot nahi or dot equals this thing gigster session, if this will be equal to gigster session, okay, then I will return my body, otherwise I will return some error message, okay. So I have named it like this. Now return 401 non unauthorized, okay. So here I'll make it as a 401 unauthorized. Here I cannot have the body because already I am defining as a list, so I'll just pass as a null list, okay, because the return type is already decided, so you cannot pass the string value here, so you will have to make it as a empty body, okay. Or you can pass some other, you can just define some other object also of type employee, and there you can do it. Otherwise it will be better to pass a null body only in this particular case. In the else condition, I will return what? I will return response entity dot status. Here I can pass 200, okay. Then dot body, some body I need to pass, okay. Now let's go and see what body I should pass it. So basically, as you see, we want to pass the list of employee as a body, okay. So first of all, you need to create the list of employee you need to create it, and then you can pass it here, right? So how to do it? First of all, you go at the global level, otherwise I'll just make it in the else condition only. I'll write, since I need to have the multiple lines, so I need to define the else condition explicitly, okay. Okay, so before returning this, I need to have the list of employee I will create. I'm just declaring it emp list, I will name it employee list employee, okay, equal to new array list. That's it. Now I need to create what? I need to set the different employees and just add it to the list, isn't it? So let's do it. Otherwise I'll just create the, here I need to have what? I need to have the constructor where I'll set the values, right? So generate, first of all I need what? I need the constructor where I can set the values. Okay, constructor has been created. Now I need to create the object of employee. I will need as a employee, let's say emp1 equal to new employee. Okay, and here I need to pass the values, the different values which are supposed to be passed in the response body. Correct. So here you can see they are expecting Jack. I will pass it as it is. Jack, then age 25, salary $10,000. Okay, so I need to pass in this format. First name will come, then age, salary, and work experience. So name, I'll just pass some random value only. 26. Then salary, let's say $10,000. Then work experience as a 5 years. So this is my one employee. Now I need to have the second employee also. So let's reuse the same code. I will change the values here. This time I'll have the employee 2, isn't it? This time let's make it as a, what name they are expecting here, Rick. I will make it as a Rick 24, salary equal to let's say 5,000, work experience as a 3 years or 4 years, whatever you want. Okay, now I need to add these two employees created in this particular list, isn't it? That's how you can do it. Employee list dot add emp1 emp1. Okay, so first employees got added, then employee list dot add emp2. That's it. So now I am done with my response body. Now this employee list you need to pass where? In this body. That's it. Got it? Anyone, any confusion?
No, sir.
Okay, so I'll restart my application. Okay, so it's restarting. Okay, so it's started now. Okay, so let me clear the console. Now this time I am going to hit this particular endpoint, get employee, and it will be a get request. So I'll make it as a get request, and I'll hit this one, this employee. Okay, for the first time let me just change the header. There's some random value I'll pass. I'll pass some random false value so that I can validate my API. Okay, so here you can see you are getting 401 unauthorized and empty body because we are not sending any response in this case. Okay, now let me pass the correct password, correct token. So I have passed Gixter session which was expected at the backend. So here you can see some internal server error we are getting. Okay, so let's go here and see what is the error, why we are getting this error. Okay, so what's wrong here? Employee and property discovered to create bean avoid disable serialization feature fail on empty beans. Okay, array list 0 with root cause. Jackson data bind. Okay, serialization product. Okay, fine. Okay, so basically we are getting some error. Okay, it's not able to pass the list of employees. So we will see why we are doing, because basically here you can see it's a Jackson issue. Okay, so here for servlet.service request processing failed, message conversion, simply get model employees, nest exception, first XML, invalid definition exception, no serializer found for the class greeting model employee, and no property discovered being serialization. Okay, okay, fine. Okay, so what is happening, basically Jackson tries to convert this faster XML is there, right? Jackson tries to convert your object to the JSON format. Okay, so this error basically is coming from the Jackson side. It's not able to serialize it. Okay, it's not able to serialize it. Okay, so serialization is the process. Basically serialization mein kya hota hai? If you are already you would have studied the in Java, so serialization and deserialization. So basically at one machine we used to serialize the object, and in other machine we used to deserialize it. So here we are converting to what we are Jackson is trying to convert the employee to JSON, but here it's not getting reflected. That means the system variation is coming, means here this is one system, right? This is one server, and Postman is on the second server. So basically from one server I am requesting to the other server to send me the response, to send me some resource. So basically that conversion is not happening properly. Okay, so to overcome this type of problem, to overcome this type of problem, okay, what you need to do, you need to, first of all, you need to implement, what you need to implement the serializable. So basically if you will go to the implementation of serializable, so basically it's an interface. Okay, so under this interface just read all these things, what this thing basically does. Okay, so basically it converts your it it just help you to convert one format to other format. So in this case our format is converting of the object, the employee class, into the JSON object. So that's what our purpose is. Okay, so this was the one way, implement serializable. Okay, now, since we don't want getters and setters, already this work is fine for that. Okay, now other thing is you need to specify what kind of response you are going to pass. What kind of response, basically we are passing, what we are passing, the we are expecting a JSON type of response. So you will have to specify here what kind of response you are going to send. So for that you have one attribute called produces. Okay, produces. So here you need to pass application slash JSON. Okay, application slash JSON, so that Spring will know I have to convert this employee, okay, into the JSON object, and that I have to produce. Produces means what, it will produce the JSON type of object. Okay, so whatever the Jackson error you are getting here, that will be solved. Okay, hopefully. If any other error comes, we will see. So basically if you are passing the JSON object into the response, you will have to give this attribute produces application slash JSON. Okay, now let's restart once again. Okay, so this is how basically the intention of these classes are, like you make you familiar with the JSON and all. So every time you will deal with the JSON objects only. It's not like the raw string or the raw data type. It will be only a object every time. Okay, so let's hit it once again and we will see if any error is coming. So again we are getting some error. Let's see what is happening. Okay, again it is saying what same error, it didn't solve or what, application JSON produces okay, request processing failed, nested exception, and no property discovered to create bean serializable. To avoid exception, serializable or feature on empty span, throw reception array list 0 with root cause faster XML. Disable serializable feature, fail on empty bins. It is asking to disable the serializable feature. Okay, so let's Google it, because already we are passing this thing but still it's coming. So let's see what other developers suggest for this kind of error. So every time you are getting some error, try to debug it, try to just find it out, use the take the help of internet. Okay, so that in this way only you will learn. Every kind of errors, maybe some errors would be new for you. Okay, so here you can see object mapper, they are basically disabling it. Okay, we are not using object mapper. Okay, so this suggestion will not work for it. Okay, okay, so one thing you can do in the properties file, basically in the properties file, here you can see properties file, right? So in the properties file you can disable the bean serialization here. So here you can give one property, this thing, Spring Jackson serializable fail on empty beans files false. So basically whenever the empty bean will be there, means empty object will be there, in that case it will fail it. Okay, it will escape to fail. Okay, so let's basically with this annotation only, with this particular property only, it should suffice our exception, but it's not doing it. So that's why we are doing the property setup explicitly. Okay, now let's try it once again. Okay, this is the only syntax. Let me check it once again if this is correct or not, the correct spelling and all. Maybe I can do the spelling mistake. Okay, produces application JSON. So this is the only way, application slash JSON at the rate of produces. Okay, we need not to write at the rate also, it will just work in that way. Okay, okay, let's okay, if that will not work, then you will use the media type. Okay, so basically for some of the applications, for some of the Spring versions, you get this kind of errors. Okay, so I am using some Spring version which may not support this thing. Okay, so that's why we are trying the different things. We don't know what and all changes has been done in the Spring, because with every latest version they do some changes, and it's better to just go through the documentation before working with that particular version of Spring or Spring Boot. But since we have not read that document, so we need to try the different things. Okay, so for you, I'll suggest whatever the Spring Boot version you are doing it. Okay, first of all, you go to the Spring Boot, that one, the documentation, what and all changes they have done since the last version, and then you can do it. Okay, if this will not work, then we will go to the we will go with the media type. Okay, okay, so here you are saying empty object. Basically the object you are getting as a 200. Okay, but you are getting the empty object because the failing has been in disabled. We have stopped the failing purpose. But since object is getting added as a null, so ho kya raha hai na, I'll tell you what is happening. Whatever the values we are setting here, right, that's not getting set it properly, that's not taking it into the list, it's having the null values every time. Okay, so that's why you are getting this kind of errors. So for that first of all, let's have the media type here. Okay, so media type kya karta hai, what type of data you wanted to send, what type of data you want to send, you have to define in the media type. Okay, so again the same attribute I will use, producers equal to media type dot application JSON. It was the same like the other way, producers equal to application JSON. Okay, attribute value must be constant. How they are defining it here then? Okay, uh, okay, I'll assign it to value equal to media type dot JSON. Okay, okay.
So I think we need to produce it from at the rate producers, and then it might work.
No, that is fine, but I don't want to do. I'm not don't want to do extra things, extra annotations basically. So why it's not working? Media type dot application dot JSON value. It should work, right? Okay, yeah, this time it captured. Okay, this time it captured. So basically here you will see different kinds of, so before we had just made it as a hard coded value, produces application.json. Now we are just trying to fetch it from the media type. So already Spring has provided this media type in the HTTP. Okay, so this kind of different types of media you can just have a look here. So if you want to have some specific kind of, let's say, audio or video or some file itself, if you want to send, so already it is implementing the serializable. Okay, so I need not to write it again. The serializable I can remove it from here. Okay, I'll remove it. I'll remove the annotation also, import also. Okay, now let's try it. This time it should work. Okay, I have already removed from here. Okay, I didn't remove it from here, sorry, otherwise it will give you the empty only. Okay, so I need to remove from the properties also. Okay, so I'll have to restart the server once again. It will take one more minute. Okay, so that at the rate producers you are saying, right? So at the no need to give the additional annotations if you are like, if you are able to do it from the existing one only. So this get mapping, if you will go inside the get mapping, you will see it will accept the so many other things, alias for the other names also you can use, all these things are there. So already it provides you one attribute to accept the media type. Okay, now let's go here, let's hit it. Okay, so again 500 error. What's happening now? Something is coming as a wrong. So same error, false on empty bins, 0. Why it's not getting set? Do I need to set explicitly here with the employee? Only it should set, right? Okay. Okay, so if this is not working, so I'll go with the next approach. So next approach would be, the next approach would be to have what? To generate the getters and setters. Okay, so with the getters, basically with the constructor, it is not able to set the values which we are passing here, right? So that values is not getting passed properly. Okay, so getters and setters we have done. So instead of doing this, what I will do, I will comment the constructor part, and now what we will do, we will set the values explicitly to the setter method. Okay, so emp1 dot set age, let's say 26 or 29, whatever. Emp1 dot set name Jack. Okay, so the issue is we are not able to set the values in the employees objects. Okay, the values are not getting set it properly, so that's why it is having the null values, and Jackson is not able to pass the null into the Jackson object. Okay, so the object is not getting set properly. Then salary, 20,000, age, name, salary. Then we were having what other property? emp1 dot set work experience. So work experience was, let's say, 4 years. So same thing we will do for the other object also. Okay, so let me copy it. I just need to change what I need to change the object. This I'll change it to employee1. Okay, so employee2, this will I'll make it as employee2. Okay, so here also I'll change the name as a Rick. Remaining property, let me make it as same. Okay, so basically we are using getters and setters instead of the constructor. Okay, so this time let's say the issue is it's not able to uh, pass the whatever the values we were sending it to the constructor to just set these things. So that was not happening. That's why we are just opting it for the getters and setters. Okay, so I'm restarting the machine once again. Meanwhile, you can also try, maybe with the constructor it can work if you are having the other version of Spring. Okay, so for the some version of Spring has some issues. So the moment when any developer reports to the Spring team, they will fix it and they will just make it up and running. Okay, so here you can see we got the response properly now. So with the setter it is working, with the constructor way it is not working. Okay, so here you can see we are getting the values, the name Jack and whatever values we set it here, we are getting it here. Okay, okay, so that was the issue from the Spring side. Basically with the constructor it was not able to pass. So basically see what happens, since we are using two different types of dependencies inside our application. The one is a Spring, and Spring internally uses what? It internally uses the Jackson. So the compatibility of the new version of Spring comes with the new version of Jackson, so they should be compatible to each other. Okay, then only your object will be formatted to the correct JSON object. Correct. So maybe there would be some bug with the that 2.6.4 version. I think that one I am using it right now. Okay, so with the Jackson, so basically that was an error from the Jackson side with the Spring Boot. So it was not able to format our object. So now you can see it is able to format. One more thing you can see this status code 200. One more thing I would like to tell you here. So here you can see I'm setting the status 200. So instead of 200, I have some specified value also. Some specified value means there is something called the OK. So instead of OK, if you will go inside the OK, so OK internally makes it as a 200. So internally it sets the value as a, so here you can see status को ये set कर रहा है http status dot OK, और OK की value क्या है यहाँ पे 200. Okay, 200 value it is setting internally. So you are supposed to, means you can, it's an optional for you, either you can set 200 explicitly, or you can call this okay method inside the response entity. So internally it will set 200 only. So let me demonstrate that one also. Okay, so this is only for 200, not for the any other status code. Okay, bad request is also there. So for if you are sending the 400, let's say some bad request, so you can send that one also. So for that also we have some specified explicitly, some functions are there in the HTTP. So this time also it will work, it will also give you 200s. Okay, so here you can say 200 error, you are sorry, the status code you are getting here. Okay, I'm just having the 200 okay. So instead of okay, instead of 200 I can pass the okay also, I can have okay as a status code. So internally it will call 200 only. So here again I'm showing you, here you can see 200 is coming from the source code. Okay, so that's what about the retrieving the list of employees. So again I'm showing you, before I was using getter setters, sorry, before I was using the constructor, now I'm using the setter method. Okay, so in the setter method I'm just setting the values, and I'm just adding to the list, and I'm passing into the response body. That's it. Okay, that's it. Now let's go to any issue in this problem, anyone? Any issue?
No.
Okay, then let's go for this other problem. Okay, so the other problem is design a delete API. Okay, so this is similar to the post API only. Okay, post API means there also we were having the string type of data, string type of response body. So same thing you have to do, but you have to do it for the delete API, delete HTTP method. So do it first. So at least this one you should be able to do. It's a simple API. Hmm. Only two people left. Others left, right? Okay, so I'll give you 2 more minutes till 9:30. It's since it is a small API only, so you should be able to do it in less time. Why others left so early?
Don't know, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, so this time we have to create the delete API, which will return a string type of message, employee deleted successfully, and the status code it will send as a 202. And also you have to just authorize this using this one Gixter session as a password. Okay, so let's discuss it now. Okay, so delete API to delete all the records. So basically we have to delete all the records. So it will be simply, it means it will become simple in case of deleting all the employees. If we are asked to delete only specific employee based upon some name or ID, so in that case we need to pass, we are supposed to accept that value also. But since it is asking to delete all the employees, so in that case we are not supposed to accept any value in the request body or path variable or any request parameter. Okay, so let's do it. I'll create one more method. I'll name it as a public, and the return type, again it will be a type of response entity only, and here also it will be of type string, since it is asking us to pass the message in the response body like employees deleted successfully, and it is of type string. Okay, so here I'll name it as a delete employees, delete employee, employees, employees, complete employees, I want to delete it. Okay, same way I need to accept what, I need to accept the request header for the token, the password basically. So let me annotate it as a request header, and the key basically it will have as a authorization, this thing, this particular key. In this particular key only we are sending the value, so you should have the same name. If you will do any spelling mistake or anything, so it will not accept. Then this much only we want, right? Then it is of type string, and it is of auth. Okay, now I just need to write a condition to check whether this auth is equal to Gigster session or not. So that's what I'm doing. If auth dot equals, okay, equals Gigster session, if that is not equal, so first I'm writing the negative condition because it will be easy to just write the in a one line. The else part I'll just write in a one line. Okay, so if auth dot equals this thing, it will return what? It will return response entity dot status. Status we need to pass it as a 401. Okay, and the message also I can pass this time because we have this string type. Okay, so I'll pass the message as a please enter correct password, correct password or correct token. Okay, that's it. Now in the else condition, I need not to write since I have just one line. Else I will return response entity dot status. Status in this sense here we have to pass 202, and the body I will pass as a deleted successfully. This particular message I need to pass employees deleted successfully. That's it. Okay, that's it. And this one I have to make it as a delete request. So let's do it. Delete mapping. I will name it as a value equal to slash delete employees. Okay, so that's it. That's it. It was just a one line of code. Okay, so the problem becomes, the code becomes some more of lines when you are supposed to delete the employee based upon some ID or name. So you are supposed to just accept it in a request body or the headers itself, you can accept it, and you can just write a query basically. So since we are not started a database part, so I'm not going into that part as of now. Okay, so I'll just restart my server. So you should now, like, the you should be able to play with the objects basically, the model objects. You should be able to pass the JSON objects, because that is very very important. We will not do with the raw string or raw integers, we will do with the list of objects, list of some data type. Okay, so I will restart. I have already restarted my server. I'll hit this API. This time I have to make it as a get request, delete request, sorry, and I'll change the endpoint. Authorization will be same. Okay, so let me hit it. So if I am hitting, please enter the correct token, it is saying. Please enter the correct token. So why it is saying correct token? I am entering the correct token only, right? So okay, I missed to pass this value here. So I need to write that code also, right? I need to pass this value. So if I am having this value, then only it will authorize. Again, I need to restart my machine. Okay, so see how easy it is and how short code it became here. Okay, so let's hit it once more. So here you can see the message employees deleted successfully. So if I'll change the password, if I'll give some other password, so it will give me the unauthorized error. And here you can see this 202, the status code, whichever we passed. Okay. So here you can see, please enter the correct token 401 unauthorized. So we are getting the correct thing only, whatever we are expecting. Okay. So that was about the delete request. So it is also very simple. Now let's go to the other problem. I think other will be for the update of the employees details. Okay. So here you have to design an API to update the record of employee XYZ company. Status code you have to pass as a 202. Message again you have to pass as a string only. Employee updated successfully, and the other thing will be same. So same like the delete only. You have to create the employee update employee. Okay. The only difference would be here you will have to accept the employees as a request body because you are going to update the employee, right? So what employee you are supposed to update it? Okay. What details you need to update it? So that detail you have to accept in the request body. Okay, so this will be a put method and the request body with the detail whichever you want to update it. So just do it. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes for this. Just try doing it your own. So Vaishnavi and Vishwesh, please try.
Yes, sir.
Sir, can you show me the code for done for deleted? So
Yeah. Basically, I'm not deleting it anything in the real. Basically, I'm just passing the message. Okay, because we don't have any data source for now. But the actual thing only also will be the same way. Basically, we will call one service where we will write a SQL query or whatever the database we are doing, and we will pass the same message employee deleted successfully if the query will be executed properly. So basic structure would be same.
okay.
Okay, 1 more minute I will wait. Okay, let's discuss it. So again, it has to return an string type of response, which will have the status as a 202. And again, it needs to verify the authenticate basically the API with the Gigster session as a password. Okay, so let's create it. So since we are going to create an API for the update purpose, so it will be a put request. Okay, and the response body is supposed to have the string value, string body basically. Okay, so I am having it as a response entity of type string, and I'll name it as a update employee. Okay, that's it. Now again, this request header will have the authorization value, the token basically. So I'm just copying the same thing whatever we had for the delete. Okay, now apart from this, I need to have the request body also. So body will contain what? The body will contain uh, the object basically, which I need to update it. Okay, so this time I'm going to have the request body as type of employee. Employee employee. I'll name it as a local variable emp. Okay. Mm, what happened? Emp employee. Why it's not coming? Response body emplo. Okay. Let me copy from above as it is. This is the employee, right? This is okay. I need to give the annotation also. Response body, request body, employee, and emp. Okay. This is how I'll accept the object which are supposed to be updated. Okay, so the first parameter I am accepting as a request header, which will have the authentication token. The other one will be the request body, which will be the detail which I need to update it in my database. Okay, so now let's go. First of all we need to just write a logic to authenticate it. So I'm just reusing the same code, the if condition basically from the delete. It will be same. Now for the else part, I am supposed to pass the message, same message, employees deleted successfully. Okay, sorry, employees updated successfully, employees updated successfully. So basically I'm just passing the message on the successful process, on the successful response of the server. Okay, now I need to check whether I'm getting the that value whatever supposed to be updated or not. I'll just print it. Let me print it. Employee details to be updated. What will happen, the details which are getting passed in the request body, right? So that only we will just call our query, SQL query, and I will update in the database. So your SQL, your MySQL classes will be started, I think, from the next week. So then we will discuss, then you will be able to relate it more. Okay, right now it is looking like the same like the delete only, but this basically here the query will be involved, the SQL query or the NoSQL query, whatever database you are going to use. Okay, so this is how the API structure will look like for the put request. That means your update request. To put mapping, I will name it as and value equal to slash update employee, update employee. Okay, that's it. Okay, put mapping we did, this thing. Okay, fine. Now let's restart the server. Let's restart the server. Basically with this line of code I'm just trying to check whether I'm getting the data which is getting passed from the client or not. Until unless I will get the data, I cannot update it, right? So this data will only go to the database and it will be updated with the query. Okay, So there is some separate sessions for the SQL itself. So where you will learn the different types of queries to insert, to update, to delete. So all those things you will learn. Right now we are just learning the Java template to just update, create, and delete. Okay, so I have started my server, clear the console, this endpoint. Now let's go here, change it here, and this will be a put request. Okay, and it will also have a body. So I will, what I will do, I will just use the same structure, request body. Okay, and JSON already selected. Okay, so I need to change I will change my name from Neeraj to Neeraj Srivastava. That's what my intention is. Okay, work experience also, let me change it. I'll change it to 5 years this time. Okay, so this data will go to the backend, this particular object, and it will be stored where? It will be stored to this particular attribute, EMP, because we are accepting it from the annotation request body. So, okay, so now let's go it and hit the API, and in the header we are just having the Gigster. So first of all, we will check the authorization error part. Okay, so here you can, it is saying please enter the correct token. We are not passing the correct token, so let's pass the correct token, Gigster session. And the status code also you can verify, we are getting 401 unauthorized. Okay, so this time we have passed the Gigster session and we are getting the employee data updated successfully. So let's go to console and verify whether we are getting that data which is supposed to be updated or not. So here you can see we are getting data, Neeraj Srivastava, age 26, what and all details we are passing in the body. So all those details we are receiving at the server end also. Okay, so that means our API is proper, it's working properly. That's it. Okay, any doubt here? Vaishnavi, Vishwesh?
No, sir. No doubt, sir.
Okay, so just
No, sir.
practice it, try doing it your own, then only you will learn. Okay, so
Yes,
that was
yes.
about today's session. I am going to stop the recording. Okay,